What if I had a retirement do-over? In the years leading up to my decision to turn in my notice, what would I do differently if I had a second chance at it, knowing what I know now? Good question. I actually get this all the time. I've got 5 things that I want to go through that I'd say, hey, I would do this differently. Number one, perhaps retire 2 years earlier than I did. I was 54, this would be 52. People, I loved my job, but the more years that pass, and I've been retired 5.5 years now, the less important my job, my career is. Looking back, that's becoming a smaller and smaller part of my life. I said I loved my job. I get that overwhelming in the comments. I love my job. That's why I'm working to 60, 65, 70 years old. I'm telling you, I believe, this is a harsh judgment. I believe 5 years after you retire, you're going to look back and say, I didn't love it as much as I thought I did. It's becoming more and more insignificant in my life. So perhaps retire 2 years earlier. Couple reasons why: recognition of the silent stress that I was under. I didn't realize I was under stress until I quit working, and it was like dropping a 15-pound weight. I had no knowledge of it. I would have laughed at you for saying I was under stress and laughed at you for saying that it's crazy to love your job. That's what I'm telling you now. The new retirement software that I've discovered a couple years after I retired would have been a game changer for me in confidence to pull the trigger 2 years earlier. So that's one thing I probably would have done, is retired 2 years earlier. And that's, one of my passions here on this channel, is to share my story and get the comments from you folks, 3 or 4 a day now, saying, hey, I retired 1, 2, 3, 4 years earlier than I thought possible because of the listening to your videos and the confidence and some of the tools that you use, Joe. So I love getting that. Please keep those coming. It gives me motivation to come up with new ideas and what to talk about. So probably would have retired 2 years earlier. Number 2, I've spent hundreds of hours making, probably 100 hours. Let's use 100. Making spreadsheets. I probably had 10 different spreadsheets, different way of analyzing things, different assumptions. I'm an engineer. I'm good with spreadsheets. If I would have had new retirement, and these are the only 2 new retirement comments, I would have cut that about 80%. Look at all the stress, all the worry, all the analysis, all the concern that I had doing these spreadsheets myself, trying to look at things from different angles, where a comprehensive software package, I'm sorry, I just discovered it 2 years after I retired, but I would have saved a lot of time, a lot of stress with that package. It's first link below. Hit it for 2 free weeks. Number 3, I would have started Roth Conversions 2 years earlier. The best years to do Roth Conversions are pre-Social Security, before you start claiming Social Security, and before Medicare IRMA kicks in, which are the premiums that you pay on top of Part B and Part D premiums on top, supplements, because of income. The best years would have been doing that 2 more years before those kicked in. Number 4, more discussions with my wife on post-retirement plans and spending guardrails. All I focused on was money. And, what are we going to do? We had our first few trips kind of planned, but what was daily life going to be like? Your average Tuesday. My wife and I just had different thoughts. I thought I was going to be doing very part-time work, maybe 10 hours, 20 hours a month. And she thought we were going to be doing everything together like we did on the weekends. So it's basically take Saturday and Sunday and make that 7 days a week. That's what life was going to be like. And so we had some different plans, had some discussions or arguments about that, some frustration. And then spending guardrails, like when the economy, takes our markets take a nosedive of 30%, we may not be spending at exactly the same rate, may have to modify some of the plans, still have a great retirement, but maybe put off a one-time purchase a year. We did this with an automobile because the market's down so much. Not the time to do significant discretionary spending. And number 5, did I say I had 5 or 6 of these things? I only have 5. I would have started focusing, this is a big one. I would have started focusing and understanding nutrition quite a bit more and the impact on my health and disease. I'm telling you, folks, understand, do a little research on your own around the diseases and how they're made worse by what you eat. One of the most powerful things you can do, I think it's bigger than exercise, at least my interpretation of all the information. The biggest thing you can do is eat good food. If you owned a $5 million racehorse, you would not feed it Cheerios. You would not feed it cupcakes and ding dongs. You would be feeding it the greatest food you possibly could, the premium oats, whatever horses eat. But I wish I would have started my nutrition journey a couple years earlier. Really, I mean, you can get healthy, but what disease did I start because of my poor eating habits for years while I was working in stress eating and rushing my food and stopping by a fast food place versus eating one ingredient food. So those are 5 things that I look back as a do-over. Now, to end on a positive note, there's a couple things I stumbled in and did right. I started a retirement group about a year before I retired. 2 other guys, very close relationship, where they're sharing our plans. They're with a lot of love and support. They're picking holes in my plan and challenging what I do. And any decision I make with investments, they are there for me to say what can go wrong and does that follow true north of my plan, where I'm being incongruent with my plan, acting out of emotion, trying to do market timing, fear, all those kind of things. They call that stuff out in me. I'm very proud of that group. Number 2, I met with 7 financial advisors, 7, to see what they had to offer. It was interesting. I think my conclusion from that is I can do this by myself. There was no secret. There was no magic that other people were doing that I was ignorant of. And in that process, one of those 7 was me finding my free financial advisor that's provided for me because of my balances and where I'm invested. I found Neil Fort Wendell. I got a link to him below. I trust him. Check him out on Facebook. Check him out on LinkedIn. If you want to go full assets under management, he does great with that. Also, through my encouragement, he has started a plan-only service because I've said my audience was looking for it, a plan only. So we just charge you a flat rate fee to create a plan and review that plan for you, and then you can go about your way. But I really found Neil as a great partner. So there you go, 5 things I would do completely different. If you're retired, what would you do differently next time if you had a do-over? Put it in the comments. Again, read the comments. They're gold. Let's capitalize on everybody's do-over list. This is Joe out.